The galaxy was in chaos. Across hundreds of star systems, the warning signals blared. Alien species, ones that once saw themselves as superior, were fleeing. Ships of all sizes and designs scrambled in the darkness of space, running away from something far more terrifying than anything they had ever encountered before. A single message echoed across all frequencies, shaking the hearts of the galaxy's inhabitants. The hunters are awake. Earth is next. For centuries, Earth had remained a quiet, unnoticed speck in the vastness of space. But that silence was shattered the moment the ancient signal was received. And now, the once powerful races of the galaxy found themselves in a state of panic, their greatest fear becoming reality. The hunters had returned. In the heart of Earth's solar system, the Resolute, Earth's largest warship, sat in orbit, its massive form casting a shadow over the planet below. The ship's crew was on high alert, with officers running through last-minute checks, ensuring the vessel was ready for whatever was coming. At the helm was Captain Sarah Thompson, a seasoned leader who had seen her fair share of battles. But this was different. She stood in front of the massive windows, looking out at the stars. Her face was calm, but inside, she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. The galaxy, united in fear, had underestimated one crucial thing. Earth had been preparing. For years, Earth's scientists, military leaders, and engineers had been working in secret. The planet had evolved, quietly advancing its technology and tactics, all with one goal in mind: to survive in a galaxy full of predators. Now, Earth had to prove it had become more than just another prey species. "Captain, all systems are ready," Lieutenant Kara said, her voice breaking through Sarah's thoughts. She stepped up beside her, her face set with determination. Kara had been with Sarah since the beginning, through every mission and battle. Together, they had led Earth's forces to victories that most in the galaxy believed impossible. But even Kara could feel the gravity of what was coming. "What do we know about these hunters?" Sarah asked, her voice steady. Kara glanced down at her console, quickly scanning through the information. "Not much, Captain. All we know is that they're an ancient race, one so old that even the oldest civilizations in the galaxy don't remember them. They were defeated a long time ago by a species no one recognizes. But their return, it's not good news. The galaxy's fleeing from them, and we're next." A heavy silence fell between them. The warning messages had come from every corner of the galaxy, but they had one thing in common. Every species that had encountered the hunters had either fallen or run. "Are we ready?" Sarah asked, her voice breaking the silence. "Ready as we'll ever be," Kara replied. She paused, then added, "But Captain, I don't think we're just preparing to defend ourselves anymore. I think we're preparing to fight back." Sarah looked at her crew. Every officer, every soldier, and every scientist aboard the Resolute had been chosen for one purpose: to ensure humanity's survival in this new galaxy. But survival wasn't enough. Earth had to do more. Humanity had to prove they weren't just another species to be crushed by the stars. "We're not just defending," Sarah said, her voice carrying throughout the command center. "We're going to show them that humanity is not afraid to fight. We've been preparing for this moment longer than anyone knows, and when the hunters come for us, they'll find out that Earth isn't the prey. It's the hunter." At that moment, a low, chilling tone echoed across the ship, signaling the arrival of an unknown signal. It was unlike anything they had encountered before, a message from deep space, one that no one had ever heard. Sarah turned to Kara. "What is it?" Kara worked quickly at her console, her fingers flying over the keys. After a moment, she looked up, her face pale. "It's them. The hunters. They're sending a message, and it's meant for us." The room went silent as Sarah moved to the front of the command center. The words on the screen were simple, but they sent a chill down her spine. "You are the last species we have not hunted. The chase begins soon. Prepare to be the prey, or evolve to become the hunter." Sarah's heart raced. This wasn't just a threat. It was a declaration. The hunters had come, and they were giving Earth a choice: submit or face the consequences. But humanity had never been a species to submit. "We fight," Sarah said firmly. "We don't run. We never run." The crew responded with a unified chorus of agreement. This was it. The moment Earth had prepared for was finally here. The galaxy had learned to flee from the hunters, but Earth would not. As Sarah watched the stars outside the Resolute's windows, she knew the galaxy was about to witness something they had never seen before. Humanity had evolved for this moment, and when the hunters came, they would learn that Earth was not a planet to be preyed upon. It was a planet that had learned to hunt. The galaxy trembled. Across countless star systems, the darkness seemed to press in from all sides. Ships from every corner of the galaxy, massive war vessels, sleek reconnaissance crafts, and even peaceful freighters, flew through space at impossible speeds. Their destinations were the same: a distant corner of the universe where a fragile hope still remained. They were fleeing. Fleeing from what? From whom? The answer came in the form of a single, terrifying message that had rippled across the cosmos, sending chills through every species that had ever thought themselves untouchable. The hunters are awake. Earth is next. It was a warning sent by the galaxy's oldest and most fearsome civilizations. Their words were a cry for help. The hunters, a terrifying and ancient race, had awoken after centuries of silence. No one knew where they had come from or why they had disappeared in the first place. What was clear, however, was that the galaxy was no longer the place of safety and dominance it had once been. And now, Earth, the young, isolated world on the fringe of known space, was at the center of the galaxy's nightmare. On Earth, however, there was no panic. There was no scrambling for a way out. Humanity had never been one to cower in the face of the unknown. For centuries, humanity had silently prepared, knowing that the galaxy's vastness and its terrifying inhabitants might one day come knocking at their door. Earth had been waiting for the moment to prove itself, and now that moment had arrived. Captain Sarah Thompson stood at the bridge of the Resolute, her mind swirling with the enormity of what lay ahead. The crew was still adjusting to the news that the galaxy's most feared species was on its way, but Sarah's thoughts were already on the next step. "Status report," she said, her voice cutting through the hum of the command center. Lieutenant Kara, her most trusted officer, looked up from her console. "All systems are ready for engagement, Captain. But there's more. I think we've been underestimating our enemies. They're not just running from the hunters. They are running from something far worse." "Explain," Sarah ordered. Kara hesitated for a moment before typing in a command on her console. A 3D map of the galaxy appeared, with dots marking the locations of alien fleets. Red circles blinked in random locations, indicating the movements of fleeing ships. The dots were everywhere. It was like watching a swarm of panicked creatures scattering from the same unknown predator. "It's like a shadow," Kara said quietly. "The hunters are coming, yes, but something else is pushing them toward us, a predator even they fear." The hair on the back of Sarah's neck stood up. She had heard rumors of this before, whispers from the farthest reaches of space, a terrifying force that had existed long before any civilization in the galaxy could remember. It was said to be an entity that had once wiped out entire species, leaving nothing but dust behind. And now it was coming for Earth. A sharp beep interrupted her thoughts. It was an incoming message from Earth's command center. "Captain, it's General Caldwell. He's requesting immediate contact." Sarah gave a quick nod. "Patch him through." The screen flickered, and General Caldwell's stern face appeared. He was a veteran leader, someone who had seen the worst of war, but even his eyes reflected the gravity of the situation. "Sarah," he said, his voice heavy with concern, "the Council has made a decision. The galaxy's top leaders are refusing to believe that humanity can survive against the hunters. They think we're still too weak, too isolated. They're already making plans to abandon Earth." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her voice tightening. "They're considering negotiating a peace treaty with the hunters. They believe that if they give in now, They might be spared, Caldwell replied. But I'm telling you, Sarah, we can't afford that. Earth needs to stand its ground. The galaxy doesn't know us. They don't know what we're capable of. And we can't let them surrender without a fight. Sarah felt her jaw clench. We won't be surrendering. Not now. Not ever. We fight. We show the galaxy that we're not just survivors. We're hunters. And no one is going to take that from us. General Caldwell nodded, a grim look crossing his face. I'm with you. The fleet will be ready to assist you as soon as you give the word. Prepare to mobilize. I want every fleet ready for action, Sarah ordered. The connection ended, and Sarah turned to her crew. Kara, get the fleet in position. I want our ships ready to defend Earth, and to send a message to the galaxy that we will not run. This fight is ours to win, and we're going to prove it. Kara didn't hesitate. Yes, Captain. I'll begin immediately. As the crew scrambled to prepare, Sarah stood at the window once more, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, thinking that Earth was just another insignificant world. But they were wrong. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations, building technology, crafting weapons, and training in secret. They had evolved to survive, to adapt. And now, they would evolve to hunt. As the Resolute powered up its engines and prepared to leave Earth's orbit, Sarah knew that this was no longer just about defending their planet. This was about setting a new course for humanity, one where they wouldn't cower in fear, but instead take the fight directly to the enemy. The galaxy was about to learn what it meant to face Earth, and the hunters. They would soon realize they had awakened something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The Resolute soared through space, its engines glowing with an intensity that could rival the stars themselves. Every crew member aboard the massive warship was on edge. They had trained for moments like this, but no amount of preparation could truly ready them for the unknown, especially when the stakes were higher than ever before. Captain Sarah Thompson stood at the command deck, her eyes scanning the screen that displayed the rapidly advancing fleet of the Galactic Council ships. They were positioned far away from Earth, their ships floating like tiny dots among the swirling expanse of space. But Sarah knew that their position was only temporary. The hunters were coming, and they wouldn't be deterred by any fleet. Earth would have to stand on its own. We're ready, Captain, Lieutenant Kara said from the communications station, her fingers gliding over the console. Our fleet is in position, waiting for your orders. Keep the fleet at full readiness, Sarah replied. When the hunters arrive, I want our ships to be in perfect formation. No hesitation, no mistakes. The bridge was alive with activity, as officers worked swiftly to finalize their battle plans. The crew knew that this wasn't just a defensive operation anymore. It was a fight for survival, a fight to prove that humanity would not be treated as a prey species any longer. The hunters might have thought Earth would surrender, but they would soon find out that humanity had evolved far beyond their expectations. Far above the Resolute, in the quiet of space, the galaxy waited. Then, a sudden disturbance, a blip on the radar. Kara's eyes snapped to her console. Captain, we're detecting something. A massive object approaching fast. It's coming from the outer rim of the galaxy. It's the hunters. Sarah's heart raced, but she didn't flinch. Initiate combat protocols. All ships, prepare for battle. The crew sprang into action, moving quickly and decisively. The time had come. Earth's first real test in the galactic arena was finally here, and Sarah wasn't going to let her people go down without a fight. For years, Earth had been training, building weapons, and refining its technology. While the galaxy's civilizations had relied on conventional tactics, humanity had learned to think differently. They knew the galaxy was full of ancient beings with vast power, but they also knew that true power didn't always come from strength alone. It came from strategy. It came from understanding your enemy and knowing when to strike. A voice cut through the tension. Captain, the fleet is moving into position. The battle in the void of space had reached its boiling point. The once quiet and peaceful expanse surrounding Earth had become a chaotic arena of destruction. The hunters, with their vast and terrifying warships, were formidable foes, but Earth was far from ready to surrender. Humanity had learned long ago that survival wasn't just about strength. It was about adaptability, resilience, and above all, strategy. Captain Sarah Thompson stood in the heart of the Resolute's command center, her eyes locked on the digital display that showed the ongoing battle. The crew around her was focused, each person in their place, working tirelessly to keep their defenses strong. The massive hunter ship loomed large on the screen, its hull pocked with the signs of battle. Despite the damage it had taken, it still pressed forward with unrelenting speed and power. Sarah could feel the weight of the moment. They had given the hunters a shock. But now it was time to push further, to take the fight to them, and show them what humanity was truly capable of. "We need to act fast," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Their ship is too strong for us to take down with conventional tactics. We need to hit them where it hurts." Lieutenant Kara, who had been monitoring the battlefield, glanced up. "Captain, we've detected a weakness in their shield system. It's faint, but it's there. If we can hit it with a concentrated strike, we might be able to break through." Sarah nodded, her mind already racing with the possibilities. "Give me a full tactical analysis. I want to know exactly where we need to strike. No mistakes." The room fell silent as Kara and the tactical officers scrambled to work. Sarah knew time was running out. The battle had already cost them ships, and the longer they waited, the more damage they would take. But the hunters were not unbeatable. They were powerful, yes, but humanity was learning. They were evolving. On the battlefield, the situation was growing more dire by the minute. The hunter ship had adapted to their attacks, shifting and maneuvering with precision that no human ship had ever been capable of. Their weapons were devastating, tearing through Earth's fleet with ease. Ships exploded in flashes of light as the hunter warship's weapons found their mark. Yet Earth's forces were relentless. Despite the odds, the fleet held its ground. Smaller ships darted around the larger enemy vessels, harassing them with precise shots, while the larger warships moved into position, exchanging devastating blasts with the hunters. "Captain, we've identified the weak point in their ship's shield system," Kara said, her voice filled with urgency. "It's located at their rear energy core. If we can strike it directly, we could disable their power systems and cripple their ability to fight back." Sarah's eyes narrowed. This was it. "All ships, prepare for the coordinated strike. I want that core disabled. We make it count." The crew responded in unison, their hands moving with practiced speed as they set the ship's weapons to the optimal configuration. Sarah's mind was racing, calculating the exact trajectory, the timing, everything. They had one shot at this, and failure wasn't an option. The hunter ship, unaware of the weakness it was about to face, continued its aggressive assault. But the fleet was waiting, moving into position. "Now," Sarah shouted. The Resolute's cannons fired first, sending a concentrated energy beam directly toward the hunter ship's rear energy core. It was followed by a series of blasts from other human vessels, each one aimed with surgical precision at the now identified weak point. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a massive explosion erupted from the hunter ship's rear, sending shockwaves through space. The hunter ship staggered, its shields flickering and failing. The fleet's concentrated fire had hit its mark. "We did it," Kara exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief and relief. But Sarah wasn't ready to celebrate yet. She knew better than anyone that the hunters weren't going to back down so easily. They had taken a significant hit, but they were still a dangerous force. Now was the time to press the advantage. "All ships, engage. We take them down now," Sarah commanded. The Resolute surged forward, its engines roaring to life. Behind it, the remaining Earth fleet followed suit, each ship launching toward the hunter warship with everything they had. The hunters were reeling, but they were still alive, and that made them a threat. The cold silence of space settled over the battlefield, broken only by the slow hum of the Resolute's engines as it drifted in the aftermath of the epic battle. The once feared hunter warship had been reduced to nothing more than fragments scattered across the expanse, its legacy now nothing more than a reminder of humanity's strength. Captain Sarah Thompson stood at the command center, staring at the chaotic remnants of the battle. The faces of her crew were filled with exhaustion, relief, and disbelief. They had done it. They had defeated the hunters, but Sarah's mind was far from at ease. The sensors across the ship flickered, a warning flashing on the screen. "Captain, we've received a transmission," Kara said, her voice tinged with confusion. "It's from the Galactic Council. It's encrypted." "Patch it through," Sarah ordered. The screen in front of her flickered for a moment, and then a tall, imposing figure appeared on the screen. It was a representative from the Galactic Council, an alien who had been silent for years. Their race was known for their neutrality, but Sarah had always sensed something far deeper beneath their calm exterior. Their species was older than most in the galaxy, and their influence spread far beyond their own borders. "This is Counselor Zunner," the alien spoke, his voice calm yet filled with an undeniable weight. "Captain Thompson, your victory has reached us. Humanity has done what we feared might happen. You have proven that you are no longer just a fledgling species. You are a force to be reckoned with." Sarah's grip tightened on the console. "What do you mean?" Zinner's expression remained unchanged, but there was something in his eyes, something ancient and knowing. "You have woken something. Your victory over the hunters has sent ripples through the galaxy. There are other forces, older, far more powerful than the hunters, watching, and they are not pleased with your defiance." The words hit like a hammer. Humanity had just beaten one of the galaxy's deadliest predators, and now something darker was stirring. The galaxy was vast, filled with ancient beings who had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. To them, humanity was a wild card, unpredictable and dangerous, a force they had never expected to challenge their power. Zinner's eyes narrowed. The galaxy has now witnessed humanity's true strength. You are no longer the underdog. The consequences of this victory are far-reaching. The universe will either come to fear you or seek to destroy you. A chill ran down Sarah's spine, but she didn't look away. She had seen enough to know that this was only the beginning. The victory over the hunters was not the end. It was a message, a declaration. Humanity was not just surviving in the galaxy. It was staking its claim. "We are ready," Sarah said, her voice firm. "We've proven ourselves, and we're not backing down." Zinner's face softened just for a moment. "You may think you're ready, but you're not. The galaxy is vast, and its oldest inhabitants are waking. The real test of humanity's place in the stars has just begun." The transmission flickered, and then the alien figure disappeared, leaving Sarah in stunned silence. The warning was clear. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, but at what cost? And what would the true consequences be? She turned to her crew, who were equally quiet, processing the gravity of what had just been revealed. The Resolute and its fleet had just won a war, but there was something else waiting. Something more dangerous. The galaxy was full of threats, old and new, and humanity's place in it was now uncertain. "Set a course for Earth," Sarah finally ordered, her voice steady. "We'll prepare for whatever comes next. We've made our mark. Now, we fight for our future."